Okay. Christian Norwood is going to introduce himself. Dot may have something to say about Christian because Christian happens to be her son. I want to just introduce yourselves, speak, do whatever.
Okay. Good morning again, y'all. So what happened was, the reason Christian's here today, all right, the reason Christian's here today because he came to Grace House and he did a presentation on Bill of Rights. Christians have always asked us, you know, the family, do you know what this bill means? Do you know what this means? And if I say no, he's going to explain it, you know, which is good because a lot of us, well, how many of y'all know all the Bill of Rights? What they mean, the title of it and what they mean. How many of y'all? Raise your hand. How many of y'all know what 6 of them are? How many of y'all know what 3 of them are? Okay, how many of you know what 1 of them is? So tell me the one that you know. Give me hands first. Okay, Robin?
Honor thy father and thy mother.
You know the rest of the Bible, right?
Wait. Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. Their arms. That's the second. Give me another one. Right to assembly. Say it again.
Equal rights.
Equal rights.
And it's also the number 8 is for prisoners.
For who?
Healthcare in prison.
Healthcare prisoners.
Receiving healthcare.
Okay. So what he's going to do, this is my son, Christian Norwood, and again, when he presented at Grace House, it was very good. It was very good, and we asked him to come here today because we're going down to the Capitol for these reasons. So he's going to present and give information.
Thank you, Christian.
Christian Norwood.
Thank you. Alright, y'all bear with me. This is kind of my first time speaking in front of the crowd this side. I probably had maybe about 6 people last time, so just give me a little cheer up. Yeah, all right. So, again, my name is Christian Norwood, Mr. Dyson, and I am here to give you this presentation on the Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments of the Constitution. Those are considered the Bill of Rights. There are 27 amendments in the Constitution, but the first 10 are called the Bill of Rights, which is kind of like, I guess, the 10 Commandments, so to speak. Yeah. All right, well, you can get to the next one. You just hit the, space bar. Okay. Basically, what I just said, the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments. The creator was James Madison. They were created on September in 1789 and ratified in December of 1791. All right. All right, amendment number 1. So, that is the one that you guys are just kind of saying. The freedom of speech, freedom to petition. All right, go ahead, Mom. All right, so the First Amendment, it guarantees the freedom of religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. Go ahead. All right, keep going. All right, this means we have the right to religion. We can practice any religion we like freely. We can speak freely. Being rude is not against the law, so you can be as rude as you want to. It's not necessarily illegal. Well, it's not illegal at all. Actually, you can talk to people how you want, but it's actually called common courtesy, you know, when you're talking to people and conducting business. All right, we have the freedom to assemble, to meet, to congregate. As if, like for a church or to congregate at a football game, we have that right to be open in the public in the gathering. All right, to address the government, to petition. So basically what we're about to go do, maybe not petition, but you do have the right to go to the Capitol, to these federal buildings, and you can stand out there and you can literally petition, let your voice be heard, because it's almost like that may be the only way that some of these things are being worked out. All right, there's one more. And the freedom of press. To publish newspapers, TV articles, internet, TV, radio. That's the freedom to record in public. So anything. So you may see a lot of the YouTube videos talking about maybe a policeman saying you can't record the stop or you can't record what's going on. Well, actually you can. You have that is your God-given first right to record in anywhere, especially in your own vehicle or in your own person, but definitely in public. So anywhere you can see from public, you can record from public. But it's up to the institution or the owner to create privacy. So if they have to create a privacy, if it's not a wall or a door shut, then you can record all you want to. If you can see straight through it, it's free to record. It's free. You have that freedom of press. All right, that was the First Amendment. All right, so the Second Amendment. Go ahead, again. All right, so this one is basically one that kind of everybody maybe knows. We're in the South, so we kind of live by the Second Amendment, but it's the right to bear arms. You have the right to buy and possess weapons, whether it's knives, swords, guns, whatever it may be. Now, it is in certain places different classes of weapons that you are allowed to have legally. No fully automatic weapons, but anything. I don't want to go into the details of that because I can't really tell you Mississippi's class law, but there are certain licenses that you have to have concealed carry, higher ammunition carry, just different things, but it's definitely in law books and it's find out. All right, we'll go to the next one. The Third Amendment. All right, the Third Amendment is basically about quartering soldiers, housing a soldier. So in times of war, you are not, I'm sorry, I'm getting my words right. You are not required by law to house a soldier. So in a time of war or in a time of peace, you don't actually have to house a soldier, feed him, shelter him. But this was made because of, I want to say, either World War I or the Civil War, but one of the two. The government had forced, some states had forced people to allow soldiers to live with them. And they made that a constitutional right that you don't have to do that. You can if you want to, but you do not have to. Go ahead. All right, the Fourth Amendment. So this is the one kind of people hear about. But you have the right to be free from searches and seizures. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead. All right, go one more time. All right, so a search. So a search. The definition of a search is the examination of persons or premises. So to be searched is to be checked. If someone was to give you a body pat down or to go through your belongings, go through your car, for an officer asks you, can I search your vehicle? You have the right to say no. You do not have to allow them to do that. It's your personal belongings and you are in control of all of that. All right, the definition of a seizure is to take or remove belongings. So to seize property, to basically to take it without one's permission is basically theft. So with that being said, you can press charges for either of those when they are unlawful. We'll go to the next one. That was the Fourth Amendment, you guys. Now, if I'm going too fast, let me know, but I do have a little time constraint, so I'm kind of running through it a little bit, all right? All right, Fifth Amendment. So, go ahead, you can go out one more time. All right. So the Fifth Amendment, it protects the rights of the person being accused of a crime. That plays into, if you are being accused of a crime, these are the rights you have. When people say, I invoke my Fifth Amendment, usually the first thing that comes to mind is I have the right to remain silent. That's your Fifth Amendment right. That's an actual right. You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to tell on yourself, which is self-incrimination. You don't have to tell on yourself. You don't have to answer any questions. It's not. That's not a requirement by law. Or if someone was, if they were to tell you, if you don't identify yourself, if you don't give me your license or insurance, your paperwork, then I can take you to jail. They can only take you to jail if after they give you a probable cause. Only after that becomes a charge. Not identifying yourself is not a charge before they have reasonable suspicion and can articulate that crime that they are suspecting you of. So if they have no crime, they just pull you over and say, well, I need your license insurance. Well, why am I being detained, officer? Why am I being stopped? And they can't tell you why, or just make up something. You have the right to refuse, you have the right to not talk, and you also have the right to not have your property taken, which is kind of like eminent domain. I know you maybe heard of eminent domain back in history class, but that's when someone takes maybe a house or property of yours and use it for public benefit. Well, they cannot do that. It is illegal against the Fifth Amendment because if they don't compensate you for your property. Yeah. Also, double jeopardy. I know some of you guys may have heard of that. Like if you are going to court and you have been cleared of this crime, they can't take you back to trial for that. Unless proper new evidence has been brought to the table. But they cannot take you back off he say, she say, or something that will not stand up in court. That was number 5. Number 6? Yeah. All right, number 6. The Sixth Amendment right there. All right, so the Sixth Amendment, it guarantees a speedy trial. So maybe you know someone that may have been sitting in jail a long time for, I don't know, a speeding ticket or some old tickets or maybe a marijuana charge. you have the right to not have to sit in jail for a long amount of time. That also goes for your 8th Amendment, like she was saying, the prisoner's rights, but it kind of goes hand in hand. The 6th and the 8th, you have the right to an impartial jury. So an impartial jury is a jury that has been selected by, it's 12 of your peers, and they have been selected by maybe counsel, but no one has a bias towards yes or no, or guilty or innocent. No, so, I'm sorry, my words look confused. I'm looking at all y'all faces at the same time, so y'all zoomed in on me. Alright, yeah, so back to being guilty, but I'm sorry, back to the jury. So the jury, you have the right to have a clean jury. No one thinks you're already guilty and no one thinks you're already innocent. They literally have to come in with a clear head, and you have, the panel selects these jurors. Alright, so the second point out here is that the accused can confront the witnesses against them. When you are on trial, you have to be face to, maybe not face to face, but you have to see who is telling on you. You got to see who told on you. You got to see who wrote the statements on you, and they have to be up in court. They have to be in court to testify against you. If they don't, then their statement does not stand. If they don't mean, if they're not in court, the statement doesn't stand.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So that's like going to court and for a speeding ticket, and the cop officer don't show up. Then they can throw that, the judge will throw that out.
Yes, and it's up to the judge. The judge has full discrimination over that.
Okay.
Because I was saying discretion. That's thank you. The judge has full discretion over that. He can say, yeah, we'll toss it, or we can continue on with that process. It's really up to him. And the last thing, the accused must be allowed to have a lawyer, which is the public defender. When they give you a term, when they say if you cannot afford an attorney, we will provide one for you. This is what they mean. You have to have representation. Now it's up to you if you want to represent yourself. I've done it, but you have that right to have the public give you a public the defender. Sorry, you got it. Thank you, Mark. All right, the 7th Amendment. The 7th Amendment guarantees the right to a speedy civil trial. So the difference is the 5th was a criminal trial. The 7th is a civil trial. So the difference between a civil and a criminal trial. A civil trial is when someone sues someone, so it's not anything criminal about it. But a criminal trial is when someone actually commits a crime. But these are the two differences. That's what the 7th Amendment says. We'll see. Okay, the number 8, what my young lady in the front was talking about. So number 8, it guarantees that the punishments will be fair, not cruel, and that the extraordinary large fines will not be set. So basically this, from lynchings, really, the electric chair. I'm not sure if there is some places that's still going, I'm not sure. But actually that's cruel and unusual punishment for anybody to be electrocuted, to be hung, to be beaten by whips, slavery. You know, any of those things are cruel and they are against your 8th Amendment right. Any questions about that so far? Sorry, guys. All right, keep on rolling, man. All right, number 9. The 9th Amendment guarantees that all rights not stated in the Constitution and not forbidden by the Constitution belong to the people. This means that the states can do what they want if the Constitution does not forbid. So if there are not any laws already set by the Constitution, then the state has full power over that. So and actually the state, but the people in the state, the people make the state. That's what the beginning of the Bill of Rights reads, we the people, we control that. So with us controlling our state, we have the right to change government, we have the right to, like we have the right to petition, we have the right to set up, and pretty much if it's not going the way we want to, and as long as it doesn't violate the Constitution, then we can go about business and change these laws, change these things that are not good for our community. All right. Number 10, last one, you guys. The 10th Amendment states that any power not granted to the federal government belongs to the states or to the people. So that's kind of like vice versa. So if the state hasn't made a law, then the federal government has control over that part. So I'm trying to think of maybe a law that may be here but not so. So it's kind of like a marijuana thing. So with the marijuana laws, in some states it's legal, some states it's not. The federal government decriminalized across the nation. But in some states like Mississippi, you can still be charged for a marijuana crime, depending on the amount or where you are or who actually is the cop. Because some cops may not be like that. They may actually, hey, throw that out or keep going on about your way or don't get caught. Well, another officer may not be that nice and he may see ashes or he may see paraphernalia.
Yeah.
paraphernalia, and then he'll go forward with those charges. So you just have to kind of be careful. Now, I will say in the state of Mississippi, we decriminalized it. So you can only get a fine for anything under about 30 grams, maybe. So maybe an ounce of marijuana, you can get a fine. Anything over that, that's when it becomes a crime. Talk to me.
The smell still qualifies when an officer comes to your car. I read something, I believe this week, in certain states, that a cop cannot search the car based on perceived marijuana odor.
So,
has that changed here?
So, now that is a great question because it's by person, it's by situation. So it depends on the police officer. It depends on what he wants to do in this situation. He can literally let you go. But the odor of marijuana is probable cause. No way around it.
Let's go back to you saying earlier about the judge, about the police discretion.
Discretion.
Each police officer discretion is different.
Definitely. Talk to me.
Now, we feeling that day.
Now, states can say it's okay to sell marijuana. But if the federal state says that it's still against the law,
Was actually the opposite. So the federal said it's okay with them, but the state now controls that. And it's only because of taxes and big business. The pharmaceutical company, like just taking people out, keeping the money away from the people. So even in Mississippi, it may be hard to start your own dispensary or whatnot because they're gonna put a lot of laws in place for people of our color to not be able to actually get into that field, or they're gonna make it really hard. I'm not gonna say we're not gonna be able to, but I am gonna say that we will have a lot of more hurdles to jump. You know, we'll maybe start delayed. But as far as what your question was asking about the federal not approving, the federal already has. That's the only way that it could be legal in certain states. Without the federal government, the state would be out of control with power. It's called checks and balances. Everybody got to have some kind of power over the other. That way no one runs over the other. Yeah. Any more questions about the 10th Amendment or any of those?
I do.
Yes.
So there was just some people the other day that was walking and protesting about, you know, the gun rights, you know.
Right. The Second Amendment.
Yeah. So how much pull or how much say do they really have with them marching and protesting against saying that you're not going to take my gun? You know, I can carry the gun I choose to, or open, you know, that open law where I'm carrying my gun. How much can that change, or will it change?
Actually, I wouldn't say it's changed because it's already a law. Open carry in the state of Mississippi is legal, and concealed carry is legal with the concealed carry permit. So as long as you have the correct credentials for these things, you can pretty much carry the weapon of your choice as long as it's in that class of weaponry that you own. But as far as open carry, yeah, in Mississippi and a lot of states actually abide by that same law. So you can go to Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, I want to say. I'm not sure about Florida, but they have separate. Each state has different gun codes, gun laws. So I would definitely say traveling from between state lines is important to read about gun quality, gun safety, and just the procedures about transporting your weapon wherever you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I think we talk about the legislature. We talk about lobbying. So we look at all these mass guns and we say anything that's not having, because we look at the NRA has such a straight hold, National Rifle Association has such a straight hold on our legislature. And then we talk about Mississippi, we look at it, we talk about Democrat versus Republican. Mississippi, the Republican have a super majority. So we talk about the legislature, that's when we talk about how gun law started to change from the legislative perspective. So we talk about the Second Amendment right to our own, I don't say it's going anywhere anytime soon.
It'll never, that's how America started. Right? We came over here with guns, you know, so the guns ain't going nowhere. But I will say, I would think, in a way, I don't think that anyone should just be able to, just because you have a license, I don't think you should be able to go get a gun. I do think it should be some kind of gun control. I do think that it should be some kind of mental test to be able to own a gun, especially any kind of army guns. So any kind of ARs, AKs, any kind of rifle, battle rifle, so to speak. Those should be something that you should have to go and get an extensive check for. Because, there are people that have these guns and they get put in the wrong hands or they get sold to the wrong people now. It's a lot of, even selling guns from person to person is different laws from that, between that and the manufacturer. Right. You have to go through a background check when you're buying a gun from a manufacturer versus if I was to buy a gun from you, Mr. Gerald, if I was to buy a gun from Mr. Gerald, then he doesn't have to conduct a background check on me. He can literally sell me this gun, give me a receipt of sale, a bill of sale, and I'm on by my way. You know, we can exchange currency, but with that being said, that means guns can still get in the hands of anyone. You know, so I definitely think it should be some kind of gun reform, gun control when it comes to that sector. I'll run through those really quick. The amendments 13, 14, and 15, those are the civil rights, civil war laws. 13, we all know it abolished slavery. It's actually a documentary, so to speak, on Netflix, or was called The 13th. And it's a really informative documentary about like just going about how slavery was turned into mass incarceration and the things in between. But yeah, we definitely abolished slavery. I want to say maybe in now Mississippi we just did it in '96. Yeah, somewhere recently.
Yeah, recently.
Yeah, we just literally cleared up our books. Yeah.
It was recent.
Yeah. All right, number 14. This is for the equal due process and equal protection clause. So it kind of goes back into number 7. But the difference is, number 14 is when you are actually the plaintiff, when you are the one on offense, you are the one suing. You're not in the criminal investigation. And the last one is the 15th. This is basically what gave us the right to vote. It gave people of color, and actually not even people, it gave black men the right to vote. Women could still vote at this time. But these are the 3 civil rights and civil war laws that we kind of go by today. But I mean, that's it, guys. Any questions? Can I answer anything else you have? Talk to me.
You said you gave us the right to vote. I was reading that we could have voted a long time ago, but they won't allow us to give some different kind of tests.
So they were called literacy tests. Now, when they did actually give us the right to vote, they did put into play literacy tests. So basically, if you couldn't read or write, couldn't spell your name, then you did not have the right to vote. Because why would you be able to vote if you can't read who on the ballot, so to speak? You know. So, but it was always it's always something. Yeah,
they kept moving the ball.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would say also, because I was a kid and I was there, Miss Vanderhamer will tell you it didn't matter if you could read or write, because she read books like she loved books. Yeah. She read, she wrote, she knew everything she needed to know to vote. She went to Indiana, Mississippi, and they gave her this crazy, twisted set of questions meant to trip you up, and they told her she couldn't vote, right? So it wasn't even they called it illiteracy, and then they did the poll tax, and there's all kinds of ways of it. My question to you, that's all over, right? They still don't try to, there's nothing they're doing right now to suppress the vote, is it?
Yes, they are.
That's my question. It's a loaded question.
No, it's cool. Actually, I want to hear what you have to say, Mr. Judge.
They still suppressing the vote by erasing people off of the polls. They're doing, I can't think about it. It's something like voter ID law. Let's think about it. A voter ID law. A lot of people don't have identification. So you like to say they're constantly doing something. So vote suppression definitely.
And then they what's a gerrymandering? What's that word mean?
Gerrymandering means the way they redistrict in different communities.
That's it. That's what I was going to say.
It's more of a certain population. Say if I vote Republican, and this is any state, whoever controls the legislature can gerrymander. They can redistrict however they want. So if the Republicans control, they're going to redistribute where they have more Republican votes. Because if we think about it, we talk about the Electoral College, right? The Electoral College supersedes everything. We know the last election, Hillary Clinton won by 3 million votes, but the Electoral College would win.
Right. And also, I noticed that if you were in this district to vote and you moved and you didn't change over, to the district you were supposed to be in, then when you go to vote at that district you just moved from, they won't let you vote, and then that gives a person a mindset of, I'm not going way out here now.
But you can do an absentee ballot at that location.
Yeah.
You still do absentee ballot at that location. You see, a lot of people don't understand it.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you still do absentee ballot at that location. You can vote right there, even though you're not in the correct precinct at the time.
Okay.
Because again, we talk about Mississippi with inadequate transportation and things like that. So that's another issue is our bus system and things like that are inadequate. So we're looking at transportation as an issue too for us voters.
Okay. Yeah.
Y'all give Christian a hand.